Live, and we are in the game world once again, and looking at what we got going on here. Kind of did a little bit of playing around over the weekend, changed some tests a little bit so our test coverage reflects a little bit better, so that's cool. So today, or this week, next couple weeks maybe, since this is kind of a short week, is going to start working on the back end so that we can have the front end and back end sort of interacting with each other. And yeah, so let's get this started. So we have our unit created action. We're actually going to ignore that for a little bit, our connected action. See here where our actions here. Right, for now we're just going to do some logging, and then we'll eventually kind of go into the nitty-gritty and actually implement them after we get the back end talking to the front end. So what we're going to do is strategy action. We're going to drop this here, and we're going to say trace unit created, and this one here, actually not trace, logger log debug unit created, and we're going to take the logger here, trace, logger log debug unit move. Okay, so we're going to implement these after we start kind of building out the backend a little bit. So let's take a look over here. We're going to do something very similar as what we did to the front end. We have our game server. Actually, might be a little bit easier to get it this way. Here's our library. We got tasks. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up handlers. So we're going to say new folder handler, and we're going to do new folder within handler. So, whoa, that was loud. Turn that down a little bit. Let's see here. We're going to create. Oh, here we go. New folder. We're going to create input. New folder. Output. And new folder actions. So we're just going to kind of model what we have going on here. Also realized too, we have Player Connect. We are actually writing to the socket for these things, so we can implement on both sides. So this is great. So what we're going to do is we're going to VI, let's see here, plenty of tabs, that's for sure. Okay, just going to do a mixed test just to make sure everything's working in the direction. Okay, great. And now we're going to start with, what do we want to start with? Let's do player connect. vi lib handler input player connect .ex def module player connect do. And so it's going to be the same thing, but very simple, similar to this. We're going to say at command ID, and this one we're going to do our constant. So I guess we'll just use this as our point of authority for now. We're just going to use I thought we had an actions IO commands in there. So player connect would be 4, and then the I guess we're just going to read read, and we'll take the port and maybe we might reps. No, I think that'll be okay. Read the port, and we're going to return a player connect destruct. def struct. So these are structures similar to type defs and hacks. And I tend to forget the syntax when I haven't used it in a while, so we're going to just go to Elang and struct. And it is, there we go, struct name. Okay, so we're going to do, here we're just going to do, this is read, so I actually don't need to do that. We're going to write. And so we don't need the struct, technically don't. It's going to be quite simpler just for now. I'm going to do port. Okay, you know what? We're going to just do stream, which is better naming here. And let's go to our nice socket. And I want to do socket TCP send. In fact, we're going to look at our test here. We get test, game server, integration. There we go. And we're just going to follow what's very similar to this. So I think we also have our util. Just getting kind of familiar with what we had going on here. It was pretty good. Game server util. In fact, I see a point of change here. We'll put that in there. Ooh. Okay, so this actually doesn't exist anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to add lib game server handler input. This is going to be player connect. Player connect, we're going to port. And here we're going to put P. There we go. Alright, so now we have our new directory structure. Are you kidding me? I have to just do this. Ci lib handler game server handler input player connect ex. Cover. Put def module player connect the command ID is for def read stream do end. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, I think we just read one, what do we read off this thing? Player connect, it sends nothing. So we just need to know that they were connected. And so not much going on here. So we're just going to def struct trying to think what we can do. Think about that one. So we're going to just leave that one blank for now. It's just a stream read, and so we're going to go to, actually, no, we're going to change this. Delete it. We're going to do game server handler input. Okay, and this next one we're going to do is unit move to dx def module and server dot handler dot input dot unit move to, and command ID is going to be 5. In fact, I think what we need to do is actually need to do def get command ID. Command ID. I think we need to do that for the other one as well. Game server live game server handler input better connect. Yeah, we get. Ooh, did I do? I did. Get. There it is. It's kind of dark in here, and my keyboard is making it hard to see. ID. Odd. ID. Command ID. Command ID. Okay, so that's going to be our API. To end. Command ID. Yeah. Command ID. All right. Now, back to here, and DD, we're going to do def read stream do end. And in this one, we're going to follow the API here. So it's writing the command ID. So we're going to have that already, just like we do on the other side. Unit ID, so it's int, right? So we're going to do stream. And actually, we're going to make a struct out of this. So we're going to say def struct. We'll call this the unit move to, I think. I think I even need to do that. Oh, okay, so we're just going to call this unit ID nil. We're going to have, give me my position x nil, position y nil, nil. Right, and then it's going to read 3 ints. We're going to do string. Okay, we're going to do So what we can do is, okay, so we're going to call this the input, or not, and it's going to be a %. That's going to mean we're going to be using the struct, and I think we need to do, I think we could just do a unit move to, and we're going to try this out. And that's just going to be this. We might even need to do this full, but we may not. So we're going to try not for now. And now we're going to do input is going to equal input, and then we're going to have the unit ID, and that's going to be a stream. I wonder if we can do, let's see here. Def key read int stream. And this will be stream. I'm gonna read this. Read int stream. This looks like a good spot for a reusable library, but anyways. Read int. So how do we do this here? Receive. So we had, I think it was this one here. Where's our receive? Receive int float integer. So it's actually receive 4. So looks like a good spot for another reusable piece here. So just to, let's see here, let's think of a good way. So this receive, all these receives are a good spot for a library. Lib game server util. We don't need this anymore, limited value. We call this stream reader.ex. Def module game server dot util stream reader. There we go. And essentially it's going to be these guys. Byte to bin, short to bin, num to bin. I like all those too. Those might come out somewhere else as well, but see here, just thinking. Do a lot of thinking around here. A lot of thinking. I wonder what we can do to make this reusable here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab these. And we're just going to yank these for now. And can we just, quit here. And we're going to edit lib server util stream reader. And put that there. Make these public. And then we can go back to our integration test. Test integration. Okay. Alias game server util stream reader, and then we're going to import stream reader. I think that should do the trick, so we don't have to use the module name in front of everything. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to mix test integration. Is that right? No. Mix test dash dash include integration. There we go. And then we're going to turn on our integration test here. And make sure this doesn't time out. missing some of this stuff. So we're going to delete. I can just use those two. So edit, lib, game server. There's those. Socket integration test line 6. We don't use bin to value, so we can probably go to that. And our tests still pass. Okay, so that was a good improvement there. Let's go back to our integration test. We don't need our bin to value anymore. Okay. So now we got a nice little reusable bit here, and we're reusing it. Okay, so felt good to dry that up. Now, what we're going to need to do, it's kind of weird because this is technically tested, and testing the client might be weird because we'd have to mock that, I think. But it's a good spot for testing. So we get some thought on that. I'm going to go on here. And so we're going to do test game server util. I'm going to call this stream reader test.exs. I'm going to read in test game server test game server dot util stream reader test. And I just want to do a quick spy here and look at how we did the socket server test, because we used the mock. Require logger import mock. Mock. We may not need it. In fact, I think we can get away with a struct. Let's take a look at our implementation, see what's going to happen here. Lib, game server. It's kind of tough because it's not TDD. I mean, not tough, but it's going to be different. So it's probably more important that, so yeah, the stream receive. That's the tricky part because it's actually socket stream. I'm going to just live without it just because we have it in our integration test, so it's technically tested in a weird way. It's not unit tested, but it is being sort of integration tested. So I'm going to stay away from it for now just because of this stream is kind of tricky. And actually, you know, let's take a look at how meh tests it. Test. So he doesn't. Okay, so that's a bummer. All right. Let's continue on here. Yeah, remove test insert util stream. Okay, so never saved it. Okay. What's next? Okay, so here, read int. We actually can probably just use the. Where are you? We could just use receive, which is basically the same thing as we were doing before. So what we can do is we can alias game server util stream reader, and then import the stream reader. And we could probably just import that right here. Let's do this. Import. Okay, and now we do receive like so. In fact, I like the idea of making one more layer of API, which is like read int. I like that idea. So if I do here, def read int client do, this will be receive client 4. And just want to check up on integer receive 4. I think that'll work. So now we do read int input. I think we want to do unit ID. Just want to make sure that's the correct syntax. Yes, okay, so unit ID position X. And now that we've simplified this a lot, we're just going to do this. Unit ID read int strings. There's no reason to do pipe, so we can just straight into here. Stream position X is read int stream, and position Y read int stream, and we can just return that. So that's better. And now we don't even need to do this. And there we go. That's much better. Much cleaner. And so I like this. I like this, what's going on here. So now we're going to do lib name server handler output, and now we're going to do player, we'll check here, player connected, this one here, so what we're doing here, player connected .ex, def module player connected to, we have our command ID, which is going to match our IO commands, which is 1, def get command ID at command ID, it's like a constant, and we're going to def write to our stream, and that should do what we need. Now, the tricky part, we're going to pass it a, we did this again, game server handler output. This one here, we're actually going to pass it a struct. We call this the player connected. Still going to need our struct, so def struct. Go back to the player connected, not the action, but the IO handler, and this is just going to be player ID and nil for now. And here we're going to do, let's take a look at here when we did the send, we're just going to do stream send. And we're going to import stream reader. Just going to grab this. I kind of like to put aliases imports up here, so string reader. Okay, it's kind of writer as well, but I'll stick with that for now. Oops, I'm gonna do this. It's going to be stream and we're going to pipe it into stream send. And we're going to do player connected player ID, and that's going to byte to byte. No, it's going to be, what do we do for int? Byte to bin. I think that's going up to be a problem. If we do short to bin, we'll do num to bin, num to binary, and we're going to do 4, because that's an int. So, we're going to do something better. Stick with that for now, just because we have it integration tested. So I'm just going to do that. So we're going to actually write out the int stream here. So that's our writing of our player ID. Something I don't like about it, but we'll get more into it. So player connected. Now we're going to do unit created. Unit created. Def module. Game server handler. Output unit created. And I want to double check. Yeah, test. No. Live game server handler output. Okay, we are putting the right spot. So output and we're connected to today's output. Okay, great. Just want to make sure I'm correct here. Do and use. No, we're not going to use. We're going to import. Import this guy. And our command ID is going to be, this is for unit created. So unit created is 2. And now def get command ID, and this is kind of a good use for a protocol, so I'll probably do that later. Def write stream and our unit created, and we need to do a def struct. That's going to be player ID nil, unit ID nil, position x nil, position y nil, rotation nil. Okay. And now we're going to write to the stream. So stream send Just send. Okay. And this is a int float. Okay, so I'm going to do unit created player ID. I'm going to type that into num to bin binary, and that's going to be 4, 2, 3, 4. So this player ID, unit ID, position X, position Y, and one last one. That's going to be rotation. And this one's slightly different. I think it's actually flip to bin. No. Let's see here. How do we do floats here? Let's receive float. I think we just sent doubles. No, that's a send. Let's take a look at our implementation over here. I think we may have to double back on this. Handler. Read double. We're definitely using floats on the other side. Read on some short. For input read float. So it's implemented. I think, let's go back to here. Let's do IX mix and unit move to, what's the problem here? This is unit created. Then lib game server handler input unit move to. We actually have to alias game server handler input unit move to. Okay. Do this, and that's going to be, how did we do this? Read byte to bin. Zero. Till stream reader. Okay, I already have it open. Okay. Turn to binary, binary to list, drop some bytes, reverse it. List to binary. So Erlang turn to binary. So that's that. I can't drop the first two. Let's do some research here. We're gonna do Erlang bytes to float. Let's see if there's any sort of helper here that'll give us some information. Float type. There's 8, float is 64. Matching binaries, opinion on binary. Not much to get out of that. Stack Overflow. There's that, always that going on. And I wonder if we can do this. Someone's doing something clever. And we're going to do float. No. We're going to do integer. That's not work. Okay, so is there such thing as an Erlang integer? No. Okay. Still not finding what we need. Integer or float. String to float. String to float. Not a list. No float. Oh, wait a minute. That's weird. Okay. Let's see here. Erlang binary to list. Do we do the list to integer? Let's see here. List to binary, binary to list. Seems probable. Let's see here. Turn to. If you turn to binary, that's not going to work because it's going to give us too many bytes. List to float. List to float. Still not over being sick, can you believe that? Float to binary. That seems clever. I'm gonna do this. Erlang float to binary, and then string to list. Erlang string to list. Binary to list. Okay. Doesn't seem to be correct still. Let's do float to list. That'll cut out a middleman. float. Float to binary, float to list is float, list to float. Erlang, list to float. So it did convert back, but I'm concerned list to binary. Don't think that is. Curious. It doesn't seem like that would be a float. Is there like a byte size? Binary to float. Just to binary, which is already we have. Bit size. That's definitely not good. Okay. If we do float to list, this is just not that fantastic, is it? Binary, turn to binary. And if we enum drop 2, let's see here, Erlang binary to list, and then enum that reverse, enum drop 4. Erlang binary to turn. That's not going to work. That's a bummer. I don't like the idea that we can't just send a float. Okay, this one. New float ext. So there's 8 bytes in big Indian IEE format. So somewhere it does exist. We're going to do close enough. So we're going to do bin equals 70 bin, and now we're going to do Erlang list to binary Erlang binary to return. Does this work? Nope. Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. Let me think. We want to float. How do we get a float? Let's see here. So we know this exists because it does have this type, new float ext. This term is used in minor version 1 of the external format. So Erlang bytes to float. This could be useful. Let's see here. This is interesting. Can I just search out a float here? Get what I need? Process log, okay. Ports, see drivers, see nodes. Nope, it's not going to do us any good. Okay, that's not going to work. Your floats. There's a slight difference when using float numbers in Erlang. It's not possible to use, you must use it in front of it. Booleans, binaries, tuples, lists. So according to this, this person is claiming that floats are 64-bit double precision. And that's excessive for what we need. But we may have to bite the bullet and stick with it. Until I can find a better solution. So we're just going to bite the bullet. So now, I think, this is reading a double. Here we actually have to read doubles. Wasn't excited about it, but so here, unit created, read double, and unit move, double, read, double. Okay, and so it's just going to be what it is for now until I find a better solution. Okay, so let's go back to here. We're reading from the stream, that's okay. Or where are we at? Okay, we have our unit move 2. That's our read, so let's do output unit created. And we did num to bin. And I think for double, we're going to do byte to bin. Byte to binary. Just like we do here. Looks like it was fine to use byte to bin. Byte to binary. Byte to binary. Byte to binary. Byte to binary. Okay, so after a little bit of, oh shoot, let me double check here. Okay. Alright, so that's in play. We're going to yank all of this and edit. Sorry, excuse me. Lib game server handler output unit move dx put unit move. Take a look at this here. I think we have everything but the player ID, so we're just going to take that out. Like that. Don't need the player ID. And I forgot something with all three of them, which is a bummer. But anyways, we're going to do int, double. The first thing we need to do is we need to write to the stream send command ID. Okay. Done all of our writes. So unit get created, unit move. Oh, that one, we did do that one, so that was brilliant of us. And then player connected, and we're going to stream stream.send command ID. Okay. Did a bit of working that out there. So we have those ready. So we're going to need to do something similar to our stream handler, where actually we do this data received. Ooh, data received. So when we receive a stream, we need to get the handler and if the bytes available, etc. So one thing we need to do is lib game server handler input. We need unit move, and we need a way to map the byte values. I think this is going to be a big thing to jump into right now. I'm going to just stick with what we got and then continue on tomorrow, because this is kind of a big job here and we're going to start writing some tests for this. So we're going to call it a day for now. Thank you for following along. Sorry there was a little bit of a hiccup with the float. We're just going to just stick with it. And if I find something better, we'll do it. If not, we'll just stick with it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy coding.